Welcome to lecture number 38 of the series Unreal 5 for Archviz, and in this lecture we'll learn how we can create a physics simulation inside Unreal Engine. So let's get started. First of all, I'll open Megascans library and I'm going to download a model of a fruit basket. I'll maximize the window. I'll open the 3D assets folder and I'll search for basket, and I'm going to add this basket into my scene. I'll click on this add button and I'll place this basket right here. Let's scale this up. Yeah. I'll select this basket. And first of all, we need to apply collisions on this basket. Okay. I'll open this static mesh. I'll click on this collision drop-down menu. First, you need to remove any previously applied collision on your object by clicking on this remove collision option. Okay. And then we're going to add a new collision on this object. Now there are different ways we can use to apply collisions on any static mesh. But for now in this lecture, we're going to use these three settings to apply collisions. We'll also learn about these, but in the collision section. Okay. Let's now learn how we can apply collisions on this object. I'll bring these numbers all the way up and I'll apply this setting. And as indicated by the mesh or web of these green lines, we have applied collision on this object, which means that objects will not pass through this basket. In fact, they will now collide with the static mesh. Okay. Let's say if you want to use the default settings, you can see that we don't have a very dense or very detailed web of those green lines. Okay. Now this indicates that your physics simulation now may not be very accurate. Sometimes the objects can partially go through this basket, or sometimes they can completely ignore it. Okay. So to have an accurate physics simulation, I'll increase these three values and I'll apply the settings. Okay. I'll close this window. And now I'll go into the Megascans library to download a few models of different fruits. Okay. Let's open Quixel Bridge. Under this food folder, I'll select fruits. And we have some very nice models of different fruits that we can use in our project. You can also download them in high quality, but I already have a few of them downloaded in medium quality. So I'll just quickly add them into my project. Okay, I'll save all of these. I'll go into this 3D assets folder and I'll apply static mesh filter. Let's now bring these static meshes into the scene. Now I'll select all of these fruits. I'll move them to a different folder. Let's rename this as fruits. Okay. Let's select these three as well. I'll move this basket in a different folder. I'll rename this as basket. Okay. I'll move this curtain animation to a different folder. Let's rename this as animations. And I'll select these objects. I'll press F to focus. Let's select this one. I'll move this to a different folder. I'll rename this as beanbag. Okay. And I'll select these objects. I'll move them to a different folder of TV. It's a good practice to keep your outliner organized as much as possible. Okay. Yeah. Now I'll select, let me move this on X and Y axis. Yeah. Now to apply physics on these objects, I'll select this object. I'll go into the details panel and you need to check this box, simulate physics. Okay. But I am unable to apply physics on this static mesh. This is because this mesh does not have any collisions. Okay. So before you apply physics on your objects, first you need to apply collisions. I'll open the static mesh. I'll bring these numbers all the way up and I'll apply collision. Similarly, I'll select this object and I'll bring these numbers all the way up and I'll apply collision. Okay, I'll save everything. And now I'll select all of these fruits and I'll check this box, simulate physics. Okay, yeah. I'll click on this play button to simulate the physics. Yeah. And now our fruits will fall on this basket under the force of gravity. Okay. Let's press escape to exit the simulation. And as soon as I exit the simulation, the fruits immediately took their initial position. But I want these fruits to stay inside this fruit basket. For that, what we need to do is, let's play the simulation. Okay. And now I'll select all of these fruits. There they are. I'll select all of these fruits and I'll press K on my keyboard to save this position of these static meshes. Okay. Now if I press escape on my keyboard to exit the simulation, all fruits will stay inside the basket. Okay. Yes. Let's delete these two. So instead of manually putting these objects in a fruit basket and creating randomness by changing the position or rotation values, it is a much smarter way to use physics to place a bunch of objects in a position, which will also create some randomness and will also save a lot of time. Okay. Yeah. Now let's go into the bedroom. I'll drag a few of them in my scene. Yeah, now I'll select all of them. I'll make sure my physics is enabled. Okay, now I'll press on this play button. I think I forgot to apply the Boolean on this static mesh. Let's open the static mesh. I'll bring these values all the way up and I'll apply the Boolean. Let's close this window and I'll click on this play button. Yeah, okay. Yes. Let's now select these objects and I'll press K on my keyboard to keep this position. Okay, I'll press escape on my keyboard to exit the simulation. Yeah, let's select all of these. I'll move them to the folder of fruits. Okay, so that's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll create a fluid simulation inside Blender and then we'll import that simulation inside Unreal. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next one.